Hello, hello. I don't even know what that is, plus. And I'm scared to Google it. But welcome. I'm still alive. Still remembering all my passwords. So here we go. I'm scared. Oh. Right. Okay. That's a strike. Your other German friend knew it. Yeah, but I'm probably too southern actually. Because the northern Germans have a lot of derogatory words. Because they are not nice people. How are you doing though? What? I'm so confused. You're melting, it's so hot over there, really? For us, it kind of calmed down now. Which was nice. Like, wasn't this wrong before? And there's no way it's correct now. No, it is correct. What? I'm confused. Okay. Hi, sorry you didn't try the new tutorial. You're a failure of a tester. Well, that's okay. But thanks for playing it anyway. Did you have any opinions? I'm so confused. Like, what the hell is why? What? Buongiorno. Ui. All right, he's Italian, right? Next week you're getting spammed with 30 to 32. Okay, that's insane. What? Am I going crazy? Why the hell is this not doing anything? Like, I want the different like y coordinates to be flashing at slightly different times. There we go. Okay, so it's literally just too small of a number, but yeah, okay. Now I think I just want to have it like negative. Your opinion on the game? You didn't form one. Oh. Okay. But I thought you tried it. Like at least parts of it. Okay. Maybe even slightly less, but then I'm kind of scared it doesn't do anything. You did? Okay, so you just don't have an opinion on it. Okay, and we can maybe also have a slightly different Y depending on the thingy. Okay. Now the only reason we did that was because we're going to use the same thing for the orb. Although I'm not actually sure. Oh, right, the orb. No, wait. Where do we set that for the? Oh, we don't at all currently, right? I remember. So this would be also going away on 2 weeks vacation this Tuesday, and fucking cross John picked up the second half of June for the free time. Wait, what? I missed that. When did that happen? Okay. I'm guessing that happened on like Twitter or something, because I just, okay. Where do we sign up? So there was one good thing on Twitter, which it took over a year for me to notice, but okay. Okay, the orb is now kind of like flashing from time to time. And we're gonna make a second sprite for them, just to have that animation in place. Surely I can, oh, I can actually look at it without signing up. Where it, help. My browser froze. Oh no. Oh, by the way, I forgot to enable facecam, so here we are, but is my browser working again? Okay, I think it's working again. Can I move this? Okay, thank you. Played all of the syncing stuff for the first time ever during Steam Next Fest from June 15 to 22. Okay. Okay, that's going into the calendar. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, sometimes I think it's the mix of a browser and either a tiling window manager or Hyperland in particular, where it just doesn't work at all sometimes. Okay, so from Monday, June 15 until Monday, June 22nd. No registration, sign up, or purchase required. Interesting. Okay, if you'd like to be notified, whatever, be sure to wish list. Okay, so what I'm guessing they mean here is no registration, sign up, or purchase required. What I'm guessing they mean is no sign up on the website or anything, and it's just going to be through Steam. Because for a second, it just sounded like they're going to like put a download link on this site. But here they mention follow the game via Steam. So I'm guessing that's what's going to happen. But I'm going to put this into my calendar so that I don't forget. Wait, isn't 15 tomorrow? Okay. I just noticed. Okay, I'm going to remember for tomorrow. I think. There's no like pre-download, right? No. It's a demo. Okay. Oops. Well, cool. That is good news. I was hoping to play some game at some point. Not sure if I'm gonna stream that. Probably not, but to have some kind of game to play alone is nice. So thank you for that information. Time to take some inspiration, yeah. Exactly, it's gonna be a while of research. Okay, this isn't gonna look very well. It's not really my goal. I'm just gonna make some slight modifications here, just to have a kind of animation playing, so that we can like see that the animation is actually working. Like animates, yeah. Yeah, we can see the AAA kind of animation right here. Cool. So that I can also delete the old orb. Okay, so the only reason why I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to, I mean, I'm probably gonna play it, but it's like, I don't know if I wanted to have the experience like all at once instead of splitting it up. It kind of feels like being spoiled, even though it obviously isn't, but yeah, I think I'm gonna play it. Okay, so this orb. Let's maybe talk about what we're actually gonna do today, because I don't know, I haven't streamed in a while. As mentioned in the title, the goal is to add some abilities to the game. So why? Well, the game is a bit repetitive at the moment, and it's also taking a lot of time to actually play, because it's so much like grindy work, you know, just like this kind of just mining resources and whatever just takes a lot of time. And it's a bit repetitive because that's really all you do. And so what we're trying to do next is to have some kind of abilities that will make the game faster by, you know, the abilities will kind of help you in just being faster in your gameplay. And it's also going to be more skill based, so you actually have to learn the different abilities. You can use them skillfully, right? Or not so skillfully, and you can maybe even combine them, like different abilities, and kind of have that as a skill. And lastly, it's just gonna break up the boring gameplay by having some very sick and interesting abilities you can use. So that's a goal. And the first step towards that now, so I basically started with this today, right? All I did so far was add this kind of orb entity. That's all there is. The first thing that's going to do is this orb is going to grant me an ability. So it's kind of like Hades, where you can just, you will find these abilities and you can, I'm not sure yet if one orb can only ever give one ability, or if it's going to be like you can pick and choose. Right now I'm thinking about it's going to offer you like 2 or 3 abilities depending on the special like rarity of the orb or whatever, and you can then pick one with this menu. And then you have that ability, and then you can actually use it. That's the idea. And the first ability we're going to implement is I'm not sure if the name is going to stick, but the working title for the ability is going to be Smash, which basically means like if I press the button here, then I would instantly destroy the 3 entities that I'm looking at. So if I look in towards the right here, I would destroy these 3 entities. If I would look at, like if I stood here and I did that, then I would kill the mage instantly and whatever. So that would be the first ability that I have in mind. I think I came up with a total of 12 at the moment that I wrote somewhere as a kind of design guide. But yeah, we're obviously not going to be able to implement all of them very quickly. They're going to take some time, and we're going to see how far we get today. Probably not that far. But yeah, that's the goal. AAA is obsolete, gotta focus on 4A. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be just like, what was it, Black Wake? That they, no, which game did they say was 4A? Quadruple A? Wasn't it? I don't remember. But it's gonna be just like that. Possibly even better. All right. So the first thing is gonna be defining some kind of ability or ability kind. And as I mentioned, the first is gonna be Smash. We're gonna actually define a second one just so that we can implement the UI. Let me just look up what I actually brainstormed here. Which one could be interesting, or it's kind of easy to implement. We could go for Blizzard. Although Blizzard is kind of weak in... We're gonna do it. It's kind of weak in the Tartarus section, but anyway. Okay. Yeah, and then the thing is, this orb is gonna offer some abilities. Does it always offer the same amount? I don't know. I'm gonna put 4 here. But maybe not all of them will actually be valid, so some of them will be count, which means they're not valid and cannot be chosen. And then we can just dynamically choose. Right. That means we need to have some message, sharing that to the client as well. Ability client. And right. What was it? Effect state. So down here we'll handle the orb state. So that's that, and then we'll just have one helper in here, I think. Well, actually that can probably go into tick because we're not gonna, for now it has to live in here, I guess. Let's move it in take, but have it in public scope. Because we will call this from the world generator for now. I haven't fully decided like what the actual spawn logic of those should be. So it could be like just whenever you kill a monster randomly, you might have a chance of dropping an orb to gain abilities. It could be that maybe at the end of special biomes you're gonna get these. It could just be like truly random as part of the world generation, maybe all of 3. And then it's just about balancing, like there's a rare chance you're gonna get them like randomly generated, and then after completing like a boss fight, it's a high chance, whatever. But yeah. I don't remember the syntax for this. That is annoying that I cannot access this value even though it's constant. I thought we fixed that at some point, but maybe no. Okay. Then we'll have to do it the boring way. And then the gonna iterate over offered abilities. I guess we can like be safe here. Then we'll send a orb state message. Okay, and finally we can go into the HUD. And basically just debug draw this information, just to make sure that that works. And then we obviously actually need to spawn an orb at some point. Currently we do that via the editor, so we'll have to modify the editor to be able to do that. Right, because that's not gonna do anything. Right, because we don't actually have any ability, but we can check this in. And then we'll go into the tile map first, because here we have to store this in the tile map entity. So I have offered abilities. And I do think at this point, yeah, so for this thingy, I never bothered updating this to use our serialization module thingy. So we have to manually store them. So that'll be offered abilities. And yeah, I guess I have to wait. This is what? This is deserialization, right? So this would be count is then for the serialization, it's going to be very similar to what we're doing here. Okay, and then we'll go into the editor, and we've got our active selected entity panel, that one. And if we have an orb selected, then we're not going to do like a nice UI for this for now. We'll just have a do drop down with enum separate label, I guess. And then that'll be selected entity orb. Let's see if that works. And this is like 0.1. Okay, so if I go into the editor, I open this one, boom, I can now select which abilities this thing is offering. And right, I cannot see that here yet because we don't actually use this value anywhere. So in the world generator, there's paste time map intersection. And that one copies information from the tile map entity into the real thing. So here we would have to set the offered abilities, which kind of goes against what we just wrote with the create orb helper thingy, but we can say orb is down, whatever orb offered abilities is. And then we'll just do a broadcast orb state, I guess. And that can go into entity. I don't really care. Am I calling this thing? I am. Okay. There we go. So now we've got our orb, and this one offers the Smash and Blizzard as abilities, which we can see on the client side as well. All right, next up, opening a HUD to select that thing. This one could be interesting because I haven't written a new HUD in a while. So I don't fully remember how this works. But we're just gonna freeball it. Okay. Yeah, so if we have the orb menu open, we will have to check which abilities we can actually open. Yes. So I'm going to do that here, which means then when we close this thing, we also have to deallocate it. And this thing is about opening it, I guess. So we'll do whatever that means. We'll have to add all the options. And then could it be that there's no, I mean, that shouldn't happen. So we're not gonna account for that. Actually, I mean, we can assert like, and then we'll allocate it. And then we'll do the array again to actually fill it in. Okay, that looks probably good enough. We're gonna see. Yeah, for now, if you actually confirm something in the orb menu, we're not gonna do anything. And this is drawing the options, which I think is basically gonna be ability is abilities. And then this is probably like, I have to figure out the sprite index for it. Honestly, we could also do an array for this. Yeah, probably. Let's do that. So that would be ability icon. Obviously that doesn't exist yet. cheat icons. Where are those defined? Down here. Okay. And then we'll have an ability icons array. Obviously, we don't have any abilities yet. So we'll have to fix that. We have some kind of kill entity. Okay. That's what it's called. Right, let's see what's happened. Is this actually correct first try? No, because I can't even open that. Right, I forgot about that. Had providing entity. I don't find open a hot state. I think that's what I'm trying to get. Yeah, so if this is an orb, then we'll return orb menu. Not one-shotting, yeah. But two-shotting. There we go. See? Almost. So I can look at the orb, I can press E, and then I can select this one is a blizzard, this one is the smash ability. And then obviously if we select something, nothing is gonna happen, which is exactly the comment that we wrote, so that's fine. So like two-shotting, not too bad, I think. Right. So next up is telling the server what we selected, which brings up the question of how that entire process should look like. So the question is kind of, I'm guessing we want one message that basically just says, or no, actually we could put it on the guy state. Right, because we have the guy input message. That one already has selected chest item, whatever, all of those. So we're gonna do selected orb ability. I think that's just the easiest to do. And then we'll set the orb ability confirmed this frame. And I'm sure we need to reset this at some point. Up here. And that is probably used in handle guy input or whatever it's called. Confirmed this frame. There it is. Yeah, no, that doesn't go onto the HUD. That goes onto... Oh. Yeah, this is supposed to be orb abilities confirmed at this frame. It's a bit weird to have two separate naming conventions for those. For like the message and the HUD, but whatever. Okay, so now it's part of the message, which means in here, we can have our handle confirming abilities from an orb. Oh, let's call this gaining. I don't know. Confirming sounds a bit weird. So if input selected orb ability is not equal to count, then we'll try to find the target entity, right? That one might no longer exist because, for example, somebody else already got an ability out of that orb, which I think could be, like, I want to leave that in. Players will have to communicate, like, who's gonna take one orb to get the ability. So if that thing still exists, then we'll downcast it onto an orb. And then we should probably also like ensure that that orb actually contains the ability that we want. Which honestly is just a cheating check. So we'll go over all the offered abilities of the orb. And if orb offered abilities is whatever you selected, then that is true. Oops. And for now, we'll just remove the orb entity. So I'll go here. This doesn't do anything, but if I now press okay. Right, because we are not actually sending that message, I'm sure. Yeah. So this should be selected orb ability. And now I'm doing this, boom, and the entity is gone. Cool. Right, so next up, we can now actually give this ability to the guy. So every guy is gonna have some abilities. I guess it has to go in here. So we'll have our ability inventory capacity. And then we'll have our actually ability struct, which is going to have the kind. And then for now, basically just the cooldown. Do we want the cooldown? Or do we want the the time since last usage. I think we probably want the cooldown. Doesn't really matter. Anyway. Player now has this, so this will also have to go onto the client side guy. And it's gonna have to go into the message guy state. Oops. And then in the guy state here, we'll just copy over the, actually, like, do we want to copy the entire ability struct? Probably, yeah, who cares? If the ability struct ever starts getting bigger because we track additional information that we might not want to share between client and server, then maybe we need to like split the ability struct apart or have like some metadata thingy or whatever. But I think for now, we probably just want to send all of it. And that one obviously also needs to set this. Okay, so that means we can once again go into the entity HUD and then print out all of our abilities. And we'll print the kind as well as the cooldown. Right, so that shouldn't actually print anything. It says smash because we don't initialize them, which is a problem. Actually, we can probably just do this, right? That would be smarter. Yeah, so now it doesn't have any abilities. And then when you confirm this ability, we'll add it to you. Now the question is kind of, you obviously only have 2 abilities at once, which means that there needs to be a way for you to decide, I actually want to get rid of this ability to override it with the other one. But I think we're not gonna bother with that for now. Because then that's kind of a ping pong message from like, or maybe it's not. Maybe we can do something smaller there, but for now we'll just override the first ability. And the second ability is never used for now, I guess. We probably want to have some kind of complex, or not complex, but more powerful UI where you can select like which ability that you currently have you want to override, but yeah. one thing at a time. So we'll have this helper here that just grants the ability kind. So we'll set this index for now, as I said, is just going to be 0. We'll just default initialize this first, just to have like no bad experience there, and then we'll set the kind to ability and ability index. My god, the cooldown to ability cooldown. And that is now classical entry in the data table, or like data file, whatever. Ability cooldown. The smash thingy. I don't know. These are just arbitrary numbers. I'm sure we'll have a blast of balancing them. We're going to have 10 seconds and 30 seconds for now. Right, there's 2Ds. This is the 2D game, but we don't want 2Ds in our cooldown. Right, so I can select this, then it's gone, and now it's on my guy. Now it took me to actually move before this actually arrived, because we need to broadcast the guy state here. And there we go. Now we have the ability, and just very trivially, we want to decrease the cooldown on every frame. Actually, the cooldown should be 0 by default. What the hell am I doing? Grant ability. Right, that should be 0. Right, we'll just decrease that basically forever, who cares? And then also on client side, right? Because we don't want to synchronize that from client to server every time, or server to client. We want to have some simple client side prediction there. So we'll basically do the same thing, update guy. Nope. What am I doing? Okay. Copy that over here. And that's obviously the client. And it's immediately below 0 because we start with 0, and then yeah, that works. Okay, and let's just make sure that if we have 2 separate orbs here. All right, I can't copy actually. I forgot about that. This editor doesn't unfortunately support copy paste. So I've got my smash ability, and then I'm going here and I select this one. Then it's changed to Blizzard. Cooldown is reset, all of that. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I don't know, that can stay there. All right, so then most things are already set. So we can, I think at this point, already start with actually implementing the ability. Obviously, we need some kind of HUD later on to display to the player what abilities they have and what the cooldown is and stuff. But for now, let's just implement the actual ability, and then we can worry about that later, because for that we'll also need some proper like icons for each ability, and I don't want to deal with all of that. Okay, so let's discuss input bindings. We'll need interact ability. I don't know. We'll have first ability and interact second ability. And so we'll have to change some input bindings here. Interact first ability is gonna be key code Q, which currently collides with the emotes, but the emotes just have less priority. And we'll have, is it a button? Or is that I'm not sure. Should it be left or right trigger for the first ability? I guess we'll go with left. I don't know. And the second ability is going to be, I think, F. Don't think we're using F yet. And then the emote menu is repurposed to R. Inputs, interact. Okay, so these should now show up. If we go in here, we've got our first ability and our second ability. We don't have a button for R and for F and for left and right trigger. Let me just write that down. We can do those later. And wait, actually, do we have one for R? Where's the emote? We do. Okay, so the emote we have. Let me just make sure that actually still works. Yeah, so I can now press R to open the emote. That is the first thing that goes into the changelog for this version. The entire ability thing is obviously going to be a massive entry there. And when you trigger them, those will also go onto a message, which is the guy input message, this one right here. Now the question is, I guess these will actually be part of the interaction states. What is this? Interaction kind. First ability, second ability. So then we just need to fill those in here. Should be relatively easy. Let's make some macro for this. Interaction. It's gonna take the input action. It's gonna take the interaction kind. Right, so now the server should know about us pressing these buttons, which should then show up here. And we'll do another section, handle abilities. If input interaction states, then maybe issue ability, execute, I don't know, ability. It's going to be client guy and then 0. And we also want to check not guy interactions. First ability cancelled. Because we want to be able to cancel this, which should already work with the back button that we have. We just need to verify that. Then this is maybe execute ability client guy 1. The reason why I'm saying maybe is because we need to check that if you actually have an ability and it's not on cooldown and stuff. Execute ability. So we'll check. We'll first get the pointer to the ability. Ability. And then we'll just return. We'll just say maybe play some denial or failure sound here. We already have our HUD failure sound, which we could play here. We just probably want to give some feedback. Otherwise, we'll just go over all the abilities that we have. So the smash is going to be one thing, the blizzard is going to be the other. As I said, the blizzard is not going to be implemented because that thing is probably a... We could actually... This is not going to be the blizzard in itself, but we can, just to check, create an area of effect of fire here, basically. Because that's probably actually the easiest thing to do with it. Created by is going to be us. The position is guy.target position, which means we're going to light up ourselves, which is probably not really what we want to do, but you know, who cares? Range is 1, I think. This is fire. The world duration is, I don't know, 3 and 3. Yeah, client is obviously not what we want because we are on the server side. And second, 2 L's, I only ever take 1 L. Okay, so I'm choosing this ability now, and then I press okay, something is fishy here. Let me just say that, because my guy keeps rotating north. I don't know if I just broke that or if that was broken before or if that's something else just messing with me. Doesn't seem to happen. Oh god. Doesn't seem to happen when I use gamepad input, interestingly. Okay. Curious. That is very interesting. Okay, we're gonna have to investigate if that keeps happening. But anyway, I'm gonna press Q, and there we go. There's our fire. And that immediately worked again. Right, because we now need to set the executability. When that thing succeeds, we obviously need to set the countdown, cooldown. Ability cooldown. Which actually gives me the idea, so I'm gonna write that down on our brainstorming page. One passive ability that some players might have is just to have like reduced cooldown for everybody else, which might be cool. I don't know what to call that. I don't know. Okay. So let's try that again. Yeah, and now I cannot press Q until the countdown, or why do I keep saying countdown? The cooldown has passed. But I can just go here and then I've got it again immediately. Okay. Cool. That was surprisingly easy to actually get some kind of ability working. I mean, obviously there's so much stuff missing, but you know. Right, so should we try implementing the smash ability? Because I feel like that's probably the easiest one to actually like fully implement, because it doesn't really need a lot of special stuff. It really only needs removing the entities and playing some particles / sound effects. Now the sound effect I don't really have at the moment, and I'm not gonna search on stream, but yeah, that should be relatively easy. The biggest question is, so for Smash, that's not a question, I think. For Smash, it should be clear that it's gonna be the target position plus the next 3. For the Blizzard, the question is like, do you want to be able to aim that? Is that like an item that you throw? Is it spawning at your center position and it just doesn't affect you as a player? Like there's a lot of questions there around the interaction thingy and how you actually do that. And the same goes for most other abilities, but for the Smash it should be relatively easy. So it'll just be I have our delta vector, which is vector from direction and then the target position, which is guide target position. Actually, this could be the physical position, and then here we'll just do that. And then entities is find all entities at position. I think that helper exists. And then we want to iterate over the entities. If that is diggable, or if that's living, then we want to kill the entity. That means you can also kill your friends, which we're gonna see, but I think that could be funny. Let's call this like tile index. Man, at some point I really want to implement this range iterator, like that one. But yeah, if only I had more time. And the killer is guy. Let's see. Does this just work? Let me pick up the ability and then I press Q and boom, it's gone. And boom, it's gone. Yes, we definitely need like... What? Okay, there we go. It's hard to see like what the cooldown was there, because I felt like it should have killed the guy earlier, but maybe not. Let's try that again, because it felt like it took more than 10 seconds to cool down. So this guy is gone. Now the cooldown is over, and now he's gone. Okay, then maybe it was just 10 seconds, and I'm too impatient. Yeah. That already looks pretty well. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We need to broadcast the guy state here. Not that that will change a lot. In terms of functionality, I think. What? Okay, 10 seconds is just a lot longer than it feels like, I'm guessing. I don't think I can kill the slime while he's in the ground, right? Although I don't see a reason why that technically doesn't work. Like, it definitely resets my ability. So I issue the ability, but it just doesn't... Oh, because it's temporarily disabled, the entity. And so it doesn't get returned here, which... Okay. I think that makes sense. However, we should probably reflect that in here. Okay. Because if this guy is anywhere else, I should be able to kill him. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so I think I'm gonna take a quick break here. That's already been a lot of success. And we'll just try to like polish the smash ability a bit more. Like implement some particle systems for it. And yeah, again, like sound effect is probably not something that I want to do on stream because I have to find the actual sounds effect first. But yeah, stuff like that. All right, so let me just do that, and then see you soon. All right. No, I don't remember what my setting was. I think this one. Right, so do you want to do the icons first or the particles? I think the icons, just so that it's easier to see the cooldown. Let me just quickly search if I can find like a good icon for this. Otherwise, we'll just probably stick to the icons that we currently use. Yeah, that's not really what I was going for. I don't know. I guess we're gonna stick with the current icon that we have, because it shouldn't even really matter anyway, because we can just swap out the icon later. And to be honest, I don't even really know what I would want as an icon here. Right, so in the HUD, we've got this draw play HUD for player, for local player, that one. First question, do we want to draw these icons in screen space or in world space? Meaning, do we want to display it on like the bottom left corner of your screen, or do we want to display it like on your character? I think probably we're gonna do it in screen space, because I mean, it could be fun to have like some kind of orb floating around you and have that kind of represent your abilities. That could be interesting, but I don't know if that will provide enough information, because we have all these different abilities. That is something to think about, though. It would just kind of be unclear, like which ability is which orb, and you wouldn't really have like a 0 to 1 percentage. So yeah. We're gonna do it in screen space for now, but maybe in the future it could be cool to have them as world space. Okay, draw the ability states. We'll have our screen center, which is camera viewport 0 plus, I don't know. We'll have like our icon width as 128 times the UI scale values. The icon index is just, for now, I. Question is kind of, I don't think that should ever happen, but what if you only have the second ability equipped or not the first ability? But, you know, problem for later. The screen size is just icon size, and we'll do draw rect screen space. Actually, we can do like draw outline direct. I have no idea how I want this thing to look. Let's just get something on the screen for now. That takes C0, C1, color and thickness. That is, I think, the pixels. So that should probably also actually be adjusted to the UI scale, but you know. We do want to skip this if this ability isn't active. But I'm kind of scared why I didn't actually see anything. Because I feel like I should have seen something. Oh, this should be 3, not 1. It would have been above the display, and it's still not there. Right, because we also don't have any ability. There we go. So now there's the icon. Okay, that is not really what I was going for. I was also thinking of doing it kind of the Overwatch style, where it looks like it's 3D kind of. We can also maybe do that later. Okay, let's maybe go for 64. And then let's also draw the actual icon. Right, this is draw sprite, not icon. That takes the ability icons. This is, I think, linear color space. There we go. And yeah, it should probably be scaled slightly down. So we'll have outline screen size, and that is just like plus 10 or whatever. And then we can maybe decrease this to like 50. Although having like not a totally outlined rect, but only the corners could also be an interesting look. And this is icon size. Okay, there we go. So now we've got our icon. And this is replaced by whatever is currently active. Okay. Not too bad. And then this is where it gets interesting, because we might want to be able to draw like this in like dark gray, and then we want to probably be able to draw the icon again over it to the degree where the cooldown is. But that could be kind of tricky to actually implement it in the code. And honestly, we probably also want to just draw like some background, maybe. I think so. And then we could change the color of that depending on like if you're actually currently using that thingy. Or like when you start pressing the button, then we could start highlighting that. So I guess we'll just draw rect screen space. And this is like also dark gray color. And then we'll have our outline in white. And then the actual sprites. It's kind of hard to see, because it's also like we don't draw the HUD when I'm in free cam mode. So now, I think now you can kind of see, yeah, so behind the lava there's this gray background, which I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. We'll decide later. Maybe it's actually not a good idea. But we could again use this as a kind of progress bar, right? But, So what I do want to try is kind of rotating them in like seemingly 3D, which I think we'll do by just providing some sharing. But that is not something that we currently have the ability for. Especially for this one, it's going to be a bit annoying. Or is the sprite vertex? Maybe we just need to expose that one. Or actually, yeah, I think because also like for the other thing where we want to only draw the icon up to a certain percentage based on the cooldown, we need to have some very specific drawing functionality anyway. So we probably want to just be able to expose the sprite vertex or use that thingy. Because right now that is a file scope, but we'll just move it up here. Right, and for the outline, that would be an RGBA vertex. So we'll also just move this to like here or whatever. And then, I don't know. Okay, so we'll have these, but those are not like in 3D yet. So let's maybe try these first. How do we do this? Basically, we want the let's look at how Overwatch does it. Is it just the y-axis or is it also the x-axis? Like, of course, I could just set up like a matrix for it and then calculate those, but I don't know if that's necessary. Here's a screenshot. Okay, that is not helpful. Can I not open this? Okay. That's not gonna work. Okay, that's kind of hard to see, but it seems like it's only the y-axis and not the x-axis that they actually modify. So that might be easy enough to do. So we'll have outline vertices. And we'll move these. So this is, then we'll have some left edge y offset, which is -10, no, actually +10. And then right edge y offset is -10. And this is the left edge, so we're gonna have plus left edge y offset, and then total obviously we'll have 4 vertices. So the next one would be right edge. Then this is left edge again, but at +y. Yeah. And this is also right edge, Y offset. And now we just need to pass them in the correct order to RGBA vertex. Let's move all of this into a scope because that's actually quite a lot. Oh. What? Why is this indentation not working correctly? Does it have a problem with... No? Interesting. Let's maybe call this background and not necessarily outline, because we might also just make that like a transparent, sorry, not just an outline, but like a overall quad. So we'll change this. And these we can just inline, who cares? Actually, no, we can't, I think. Right, so the problem is the outline is just a bit trickier. Because, well, actually it should be fine. Right, we can just do draw line screen space. That's going to be background vertices 0 to background vertices 1. And the question is, can we do this in a loop? I think so, actually, right? Okay, let's see what happens. Outline screen size. Right, because that's supposed to be background. I forgot how to do the multi-cursor editing thing, man. So this is going to be unproductive, but, you know. And obviously same over here. There are some things that I really like about NeoVim and the setup here, and some of them, like there's some aspects that really like hinder my productiveness, or productivity would be the term. Not quite. So we did get the 3D feeling kind of correct, I guess. It's a bit extreme, but it's, you know, it's there. We messed up the order of those, probably. Right? Yeah, there we go. That looks better. Okay, that honestly looks like shit for now. So we'll have to see if that's... just because the icon is not drawn in this style yet. Or whatever, but that can use some work. just not at all believable for now. Okay, let's also draw the sprite in the same way. And for that, we'll have a macro that takes in at least the tint. Right, and then this is these sprites. We need to specify all the different triangles, which means probably just I mean, here I'm doing it via indices. We could also do that, I guess. We'll have our indices, we'll have our UVs. For the UVs, I'm kind of scared that that is, I think, also currently hidden somewhere in here. So I guess we'll also have to make that public somehow. And then these will be the normal vertices, which just take the icon size. And then we'll iterate over all the indices and do sprite vertex vertices, UVs. This is the tint. Texture view is a good question. How do we get that? I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out a better way to do this at some point. For now, we'll just do it like that. Okay, and then we'll just call sprite with white color for now and just see what happens. And this should be a macro. Right, the sprite index. Sprite index is ability icons. And yes, we'll always use the linear view. Anything else? This also takes in flags, but I think those are irrelevant for us. Right, that also takes the view and whether we want additive drawing, which we do not. And we crash. Perfect. Three, six. Right, because we actually need to do indices. There we go. So now that is also drawn in 3D. Which I still think is, the effect is probably too extreme. So let's go down to 5. Or honestly, maybe just, yeah, 4, I don't know. That's probably better. Okay. Not too bad. So like, lastly, we probably want to modify the UVs here. Because we want to overlay the second sprite, or currently we're only drawing one sprite, but we want to have one sprite in the background, which is like dark colored, so that you can, even when the cooldown is like, when you just fired the ability and you are on full cooldown, you still want to have the shape so that you know what the ability actually is. And then we're going to draw the lit sprite basically over it based on the cooldown. But that means we need to be able to only draw like a percentage of the sprite, which we're going to do by modifying both the UV and the vertices. So we'll have like our left baseline, and we'll have our right baseline. And this is left baseline, right baseline. And then this one is going to be left baseline plus icon size times percentage. Oops. Oh god, what the hell just happened? Where am I? What is going on? Okay. Exit. I'm scared. No, it didn't save. Wait, no, I'm down here. Right. Okay. And this is again, no, this is right baseline, and this is left baseline plus icon size times percentage. Right, so the this is like cooldown T, whatever. Let's just see if the position works. That is ability cooldown divided by ability cooldowns. And then probably this is 1 minus. Ability cooldowns doesn't exist. Okay, it's singular. Okay, that is well, kind of, because the cooldown is actually right. The cooldown keeps going down. We don't clamp the cooldown, which is why it's going like below where it's supposed to go. So that's fine actually. So we'll just clamp this at 0, 1. And then turns out we actually want to have this is minus icon size times percentage. So the baseline is supposed to be at the bottom, not at the top of the sprite. Percentage per. There we go. Spelling is hard. No, what? Percent. Okay. Now I think I got it. Yeah, okay, complete blackout. Anyway. Yeah, there we go. So the only problem now, obviously, we need to adjust the UVs as well, not just the position itself, so that it's not like scaling this image. And that might be tricky. We'll see. So what we want to do is we want to do the same thing as for the vertices. For this one, we'll do, this is kind of like 3.y minus percentage times something. Do we have a lerp? We do have a lerp. So we want to lerp between UVs 3.y UVs not there's very low chances this is actually correct. It's correct. Okay, cool. Yeah, we probably want to increase the intensity of this effect somehow. So like, probably add some more flashing to when the effect is done, whatever. But for now, it's not too bad. Like it's definitely like readable. But yeah, I think at this point we probably want to have the background as well, because it just feels weird. Oops. So the question is like, what color is this? Is this like slightly transparent? Is it completely white? What could actually be cool, like we're not really gonna manage that, but it might be cool to have the sprites actually inverted. So we'll have all white and then only the icon is cut out from that white part. So like a negative icon. That could also be cool, because I think that's basically what Overwatch is doing, right? Well, kind of. But they do this, the constant background. So we'll try that. We'll try that. So we'll also have our indices again. And then this is just RGBA vertex. So it's not gonna have UVs. And it's not gonna have a texture. And I don't even know if it's gonna take the additive parameter. It does. Yeah, but let's just go with vertices. Because that's why it's in a scope anyway, right? There was some, was it like, no? Okay. I'm trying to remember how to do the multi-cursor. It's not true multi-cursor, it's like repeating your action once for everything or something, but trying to remember how that worked, and I can't. Okay, like fully white also looks really bad. That looks like straight out of uni project. So we'll have like some transparency and not like a complete white thingy. Okay, that still looks bad. How does Overwatch make it look less bad? They've got some underline here. And maybe they have a slight shader on it. But that could also be the quality of the screenshot. So this is almost full white. And this is definitely darker. So we can kind of maybe try that. We'll have like almost full white there. Then the next one is the top right, which is going to be even brighter. And then this is bottom right. I don't know, that might be too extreme, but we'll see. And this is bottom left. Then yeah, maybe like drawing a line under it can also help. And maybe just having a better icon. One that actually fits like this color scheme might also work. But yeah, good question how they actually do that, because it doesn't seem like they're doing that much more. Maybe they do have a slight outline, I think. So whatever I had before, give me that back. I'm gonna draw the outline again. We can maybe even go like slightly above. I'm not sure if this is still part of the HDR rendering. Maybe it isn't. Then we'll have outline half thickness, which I don't know, it's gonna be like 2. Then we'll also draw another line to really just copy straight out of Overwatch's IP, which is at I2 and I3. But we need to adjust the Y position for both of them. Under an offset. Let's see if that makes a difference. Doesn't work even. Perfect. Right, because we don't actually want I, we just want the actual numbers. And then this is fill colors, I guess we want to call this. It does actually make a difference. It's not great, but it is at least better. So this offset is too big. Let's go down to like 10. And I also think the color difference here is too big. Let's make this like, this maybe 0.87. And this should be like 9.3 maybe. Still too extreme, I think. Oh! The bomb doesn't actually go off. Which is interesting. Wait, what? Is that intentional? That might be intentional. Although it doesn't really make sense. Well, I don't know. It's a good question. I think I actually did that intentionally with like, the thought process was like, okay, maybe you want to put some bombs in like a level design because you can put these in the editor. Right, I can just, or maybe not, but that was the thought process of like, maybe you want to put them in the editor and then it should only trigger as like a jump scare basically. Jesus Christ. Okay, the sun is coming. I'm scared. And so I think I did that intentionally where it only triggers if there's a player nearby, but that cannot happen in normal play because you can only ever create a bomb by like mining the bedrock, and so it will always just naturally happen. So Yeah, maybe we should change that to always trigger it, because otherwise it just looks like a bug, honestly. Okay, it's not too bad. Like it's not something, you know, to be really proud of, but it's better than nothing. Let me just write that down with the bomb to auto trigger. Yeah, and then we can check that in. Cool. So that went better than I expected. Let's just check out what does this look like if we use a black color. Does that maybe even look better? I think it does. Like we definitely have to improve the sprites here to be more readable. And this one doesn't make any sense at all. But I think it's even better with like completely black. So let's just do that. Okay, otherwise I think I'm gonna end this stream here because I might just go outside and enjoy the sun if it's actually there. Yeah, next step would be like, you know, polishing the individual abilities, or like actually implementing them. The smash ability, as I mentioned, just needs some particle effects and the sound effect and stuff. And there's obviously lots of stuff to be done there, having a separate icon, but yeah, I'm probably gonna continue this in the evening. Quick question: do you do any optimizations to compile time speed? You mean in the compiler itself, or like what exactly are we talking about? Not really. No. Compiler is pretty stupid in what it does. But it's fast enough as it is. So like there's really nothing special, I would say. We did do one thing at some point where we actually started using like a hash table, I think. Right? I think the compiler's not using hash table. But even that didn't happen for a long time because computers are just really fast. Yeah, so now we have, the scope has a hash table for identify resolution. But that, like, we didn't have that for a long time and it still was relatively fast. So, yeah. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Because otherwise I can only recommend you once again that if this is the first time you saw the stream or if you haven't done it yet, I would very much appreciate a wish list on our game. It's gonna be a while until it comes out, but you know, can never hurt. And otherwise, I wish you guys, I changed the name. Yeah, but I changed that a while ago. Like ever since it's been on Steam, the name was changed. So I think in April we changed it, like mid of April or something. But yeah, so feel free to wishlist. Otherwise, I wish you guys a nice rest of your weekend, and then no promises. Currently, streaming is a bit hard for me, so we'll see at some point if I'm gonna stream again. Okay, thank you everybody. Bye bye.